This meeting to order. I'd also like to note that Director Allen is excused for the evening. All those are able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. We will now have our land acknowledgement read by Director Bates.
On behalf of this board and the Cherry Creek School District, I would like to acknowledge that this meeting is being held on the ancestral and unceded lands of the Cheyenne, Arapaho, Ute, and Osethi-Shekowee people, who stewarded it for generations. The Osethi-Shekowee includes 7 bands, so I would also like to recognize that over 40 additional tribal nations likely use the area for trade, ceremonies, and social gatherings.
Thank you. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the agenda for the December 9th, 2024 regular Board of Education meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Directors Bates,
Aye.
Egan, Garland,
Aye.
Knowles,
Aye.
Motion carries. I'd like to call for a motion to approve the minutes as listed on the December 9th, 2024 agenda.
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Directors Bates,
Aye.
Egan,
Aye.
Garland,
Aye.
Knowles,
Aye.
Motion carries. We will now have reports from our directors, and we will start with Director Bates.
Thank you, Mr. Madden and Thunder Ridge Middle School for hosting us this evening. Thank you for not having the Python here this evening. Thank you to all who work monthly to ensure that our meeting runs as they should. Earlier tonight, we were able to view a video on the CCSD Veterans Week celebration. What an honor it is to serve in a district that values those who have or are currently serving in our military. Thank you all. Thank you, FEPs and aspiring educators, also for joining us this evening. I am excited to see this program grow and flourish. Every year as we return from our annual CASB conference, I am reminded of how lucky we are to live in a district, a large district, where we can provide a comprehensive education for all students. As we enter the month of December, I would like to wish you all happy holidays. Enjoy some downtime, re-energize, take care of yourselves and your families. And that concludes my comments for this evening.
Thank you, Director Bates. Director Egan?
Good evening. Thanks to Principal John Madden and Thunder Ridge Middle School for hosting us, and to our setup, safety, and technology teams preparing for these meetings. Congratulations to the Cherry Creek Bruins on their 5A state football championship this past Saturday against Legend. Congratulations are also in order to the Cherry Creek High School field hockey team on their 5A state championship victory over Kent Denver, and the Creek Boys soccer team for winning the 2024 state title against Broomfield on November 16th. As the parent of 4 Cherry Creek student athletes, I understand the commitment to balancing academics, athletics, and activities. Great job, Bruins. It was an honor and privilege to be among my fellow state school board members at the 84th Annual Mission Possible Convention in Colorado Springs last week. This is such an opportunity to talk about public education priorities and our shared challenges. Of note is always the final day closing keynote speaker and student attendees who bring a special energy to the conference. This year's speaker was Alex Boyer, and if you've never seen his powerful message about mental health, please do check it out. Alex talks about the sunflower and how it follows the sun for its energy. Without the sun, the sunflower will perish, so it turns to other sunflowers to replenish its energy. This led me to think about what we're doing to provide much needed energy and resources around mental health for our students and staff in this district. Our CCSD mental health team has been hard at work caring for our students in schools and through Hazel Health online appointments. Our referral rates for Hazel, as well as for in-school therapists from Aurora Mental Health, has continued slow increases since the start of the school year, and all of our partners are responding well by adding more appointment slots to serve our students. Additionally, the team has been working to assess the data from the fall social emotional screener, which allows all CCSD students grades 3 through 12 to complete a brief survey in school asking about their sense of belonging in their school community, their ability to identify a trusted adult, and how resilient they feel this school year related to academics, activities, and life in general. I was fortunate to hear a presentation and discussion around this critical data at the last District Voices of Color meeting held in November at Eagle Crest High School. Our mental health team will continue working directly with school staff to address areas of growth to help our students thrive in these social emotional areas, because we know when students feel success and belonging, they want to be in school and work toward their individual and shared goals. The work around whole well-being is one of the 3 pillars of the district's strategic plan and critical to student success. Colorado Gives Day is tomorrow. This statewide day of giving is the biggest day of fundraising for our Cherry Creek Schools Foundation. We hope you'll support an organization that has done so much to support our educators and students. Donations raised will fund educator grants, increase mental health access for students in need, and mobile markets in partnership with Secor Cares. These mobile markets help support the Overland and Smoky feeders by providing free food and other staples. It was a treat to attend last month's foundation meeting at the Secor headquarters to learn more about their mission and see this work in action. The next mobile market event will be Tuesday, December 17th at 4 p.m. on the Overland and Prairie campus. Campus Middle School hosted a Lavished with Love holiday luncheon yesterday with a delicious meal, winter gear giveaways, health and safety tips, and financial literacy resources for Littleton and Cherry Creek school families to kick off the holiday season. The holidays can be a tough time for many, so please remember to check in on loved ones and most of all, be a source of light for others. Happy holidays. This concludes my comments.
Thank you, Director Egan. Director Knowles?
Good evening. Thank you to Thunder Ridge for hosting and to all who make our traveling boardroom possible. This past month, I attended a District Accountability Committee, or DAC, meeting where the 2 main topics were a comprehensive overview of the STAR assessments and creating and supporting local school accountability committees. The DAC's goal is to have robust school accountability committees at all of our schools. They plan to provide trainings and additional ongoing support as many schools relaunch their SAC. As always, everyone is welcome to attend DAC or any of their subcommittee meetings. Please check out the DAC website for dates and details. My board member colleagues and I attended the 84th Annual Colorado Association of School Boards, or CASB, conference this past week. It's a pretty remarkable event where school boards from across the state come together for professional development and opportunities to network. This is my second CASB conference, and one of the most valuable offerings, in my opinion, are the breakout sessions. They provide helpful content, and you meet people from all over Colorado, some serving school districts with as few as 30 students. One session I especially enjoyed was the Accountability Policy Update. Of the 26 members of the 1241 Task Force talked briefly with us about the 30 recommendations they've made for state education accountability systems. To quote the first sentence of their news release, quote, "A task force created to examine the state's education accountability system is recommending a major overhaul, including adjustments to ratings for schools and districts to better reflect the achievements of different student groups and to provide parents, guardians, and family members with clearer understanding of how well schools prepare students for life after high school. The news release also mentions the 5 following key recommendations. The first one is refining school and district ratings. The task force suggests changing and districts are rated to reflect the achievements of various student groups more accurately. This includes adding support for smaller student populations and addressing achievement gaps. The second one is better metrics for growth, achievement, and post-secondary readiness. To give parents a clearer idea of how schools prepare students for college or careers, the task force recommends adding new measures focused on post-secondary and workforce readiness. Number 3, modernizing state assessments. Recommendations include creating assessments that adapt to student needs, offer multilingual options, and provide quicker results to help teachers and the community understand student progress. Number 4, improving data sharing and accessibility. Recognizing the importance of accessible information, the task force proposes a statewide dashboard. This dashboard would offer clear, easy to understand data on school performance for parents, educators, and policymakers. And finally, strengthening improvement processes. The task force suggests creating a system of early identification and targeted support to help students and districts address issues as they arise and recognize their successes. The 4 members who presented said legislation will be written for the upcoming session to incorporate many of the recommendations. I know Cherry Creek will keep an eye on this, and I look forward to us being part of the legislative conversation. Thank you. That concludes my comments, President Garland.
Thank you, Director Knowles. The Long Range Planning Committee met throughout the fall. We had several meetings regarding the boundary and attendance changes for the Thunder Ridge community. The Long Range members met with families and the community to explain the need for the changes and also to answer questions and to get feedback on how it would impact those communities. We took that information and discussed it and came up with the information that you see on this evening's agenda. The Smoky High Girls field hockey team finished 3rd in the state during the 2024 season. Now you may ask, why am I reporting on 3rd place? Simply because 3 years ago, the same team that is now ranked one of the top teams in the state was unable to score a single goal. So kudos to Coach Lisa Griffin, the coaching staff, and the athletes for their hard work and dedication and ongoing improvement. Smoky Hill High School is leading the district and moving students from the READ plans. So as we focus on literacy, Smoky Hill is 1 student away from meeting the district's READ plan removal goal. Special shout out to reading specialist Ms. Jade Ankub and the Smoky Hill staff for their hard work and dedication to continuous improvement. 37 members of Smoky Hill's DECA team qualified for the State Leadership Conference in February of 2025. A huge shout out goes to Mr. B.J. Kingsbaker and Mr. David Decker for their hard work and diligent efforts in preparing the students. Also, several Smoky Hill students received the National Recognition Award, which honors academic achievements of students who identify as African American and Black, Hispanic and Latino, Indigenous, Native American, and first-generation students. In order to earn this award, students must also have a GPA of 3.3 or higher and must score in the top 10% of test takers in the state. Students who received this award at Smoky include Audrey Austin, Jordan Durham, Marco Flores, Anderson Flores, Abigail Casa, Benjamin Lukey, Evelyn McDowd, and Delilah Rodriguez. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and Merry Festivus for the rest of us. And that concludes my report. Superintendent Smith, can we recognize our future educators in the building tonight?
If you guys wouldn't mind standing up so we can give you a little round of applause. Thank you for what you're doing inside of our schools. Thank you for being here. And hopefully you'll be part of our Aspiring Educator program here pretty soon. So thanks for all you do to help support our middle and elementary school kids. You can go ahead and sit if you'd like. So I just want to take a minute to once apologize that I missed last month's meeting. Wasn't feeling great. And as you can see, it's still lingering on. So as President Garland said, I hope you have an awesome winter break and I hope you stay healthy. For those students in attendance, good luck on your midterms. I know this is a stressful time. Take care of yourself, all right? I also want to thank the community for passing 4A and 4B for the Cherry Creek School District. On Tuesday, we had the opportunity to sell $313 million of our bonds and actually make another $50 million for the school district. I'd like to thank Sonia McKenzie in the legal department and Scott Smith in our finance department for their hard work and their timeliness in this manner. Cherry Creek is a good steward of our taxpayers, and this will make sure that the students in Cherry Creek have beautiful buildings both on the east side, in the Overland campus, on the Smoky campus, and the Cherry Creek campus. So again, thank you for our voters for taking care of all of us in the Cherry Creek School District. I want to thank Principal Madden for your opportunity for us to be here tonight. Thank you for hosting. Thanks to security and IT, as Director Knowles stated, that this could not be done without you. Cherry Creek is one of the few school districts in the state that go to different schools and have their board meetings. And I love this tradition that we get to see our community and get to see our kids. And then lastly, please give to Colorado Gives Day. This is support around mental health, around food, around places to stay. And so I thank our Executive Director, Jill Hendon, for all of her hard work and the support that this gives our community. So that concludes my comments. And I'd like to introduce Deputy Superintendent Jennifer Perry, who sounds about as good as I do, to do the presentation on career and innovation with her team. Thank you, Jen.
All right, I think I have a little stronger voice, but maybe not much. I'm standing in this evening for Dr. Ashley Gerke, who does a ton of work in career and innovation. Hopefully I'll get all the statistics right and those kinds of things, but this is really an update from a board presentation about a year ago. So thank you, President Garland and board members, for allowing us to kind of bring this back to the community. So as the Office of Career and Innovation, they're really over lots of things that maybe many people don't hear about, whether it's post-secondary workforce readiness, including MyCap and AVID, college readiness with concurrent enrollment and dual enrollment, work-based learning, which can really be anything from job shadowing, internships, apprenticeships, career and technical education, so all of the TTE courses that we offer across the district. She also the department does a ton of work with pre-K-12 STEAM curriculum and endeavors with our elementary and middle school kids. We are looking at innovative learning spaces. They're also in charge of summer school oversight, looking a lot at our Aspiring Educator pathway, which is really where our FEPs have the opportunity to go after graduating from high school, and then district-wide innovation platforms. Some of the things that they're working on currently with work-based learning is, you saw the students tonight with our Future Educator Pathway having 54 students in it. Just a few years ago, I think that number was about 8. And so we've really been able to grow the program over time. Job Shadows and Centennial, we started a shadowing program where our students were able to go on rotations at Centennial Hospital. Last year that was 45. We're going to increase that to 150 students this year. We have student internships across industry, 55 kids currently placed. Apprenticeships at places like Lockheed Martin, NSA, Asbury, and Pinnacle, and Riata. And then we're also looking at grow your own pathways, whether that is the Aspiring Educator Pathway, which is currently something that we're endeavoring to do, but also looking at ways that we could grow our own pathways for transportation, for IT, for CTE, and we currently have a student working with Salesforce to become a programmer for them that can help us work through the future. We've seen great growth in the college and career readiness coursework. We saw a 12% increase in concurrent enrollment classes, up to, it was 4,600 students last year. In terms of college credit earned, we had 19% increase in college credit earned for the 23-24 school year. For kids enrolled in Ascent and TREP, you can see that there was a 250% increase in one and a 315% increase in the other. Students in career and technical education courses were 9,896. We currently have 90 CTE programs with over 100 pathways, and 55% of our high school students in last year were enrolled in a CTE course. We also have CTE CDIP certifications earned that were 977 for the previous school year. When you look at these programs by demographic, you can see the district demographic above broken out by racial identification, and then you can see our Ascent and TREP. While they're not exact, they are really close. It's something that our department is constantly working on to make sure that the racial identification across all of the programs that we offer give equal access and opportunity to our students. To the right, you can see the concurrent enrollment demographics. Again, not exact, but pretty close to what we're looking at demographically for the district, and so we'll just continue to work on those to make sure that we're representational of our entire community throughout these programs. The second slide ended up as a pie chart, but again, you can see the district demographic compared to the entire CT enrollment, and so very similar numbers. Again, we'll continue to work on those to make sure they're representational of our district. This is a breakout by gender. You can see that currently in CTE enrollment, there's 13,000 students. 42% of the students are girls and 57% are boys. Part of what I would attribute that currently to is most of our CTE pathways currently have been pretty technical in nature. As we look to expand some of the medical pathways and some of the arts pathways that we will have coming as part of the IST Reimagine and additional pathways that we're adding that you'll hear about in just a second at CCIC, we'll continue to work to equalize that representation. And then you can see concurrent enrollment by gender, which is, the numbers are small, 48 and 51%. So we're a little closer here, but again, want to continue to strive to make that equal access and opportunity for all kids. So in 2025 and beyond, we're going to continue to expand work-based learning opportunities. We have some amazing staff that are out there working with community all the time, trying to find places for our kids to go and really have places to do that real work-based learning experience, on-the-job learning that the kids report back is so significant for them. We have strategic implementation of CTE pathways. We've really grown from 30 CTE offerings to almost 100, as you've heard. And there's times that we have to be thoughtful about whether we should sunset some programs and continue to evolve into others. And so continuing to be strategic about how we do that work. Creating creative, innovative learning spaces continues to be a goal of ours. Expanding support for higher ed and post-secondary options. And to increase the use of platforms that students can access those things. Continue to build out a portrait of a graduate that documents the MyCap, including work-based learning, industry certificates, where each student can have access and explore their own potential pathways that really helps them think about knowing what my likes and dislikes are, where would I like to go from here, what are some industries that really would foster my passions, and then continuing to build out a pre-K-12 digital citizenship framework. We've currently built that out at the elementary level and are piloting it at some schools and are just starting to look at what that might turn into for our middle school students. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Principal Steve Day, who is the current principal at CCIC.
Thank you, Dr. Perry, and thank you to the board for this opportunity to present and cover what we're hoping to expand as we expand and almost double the size of the CCIC. I'll comment very briefly that I was fortunate enough to represent CCIC in the school district about 3 weeks ago with Dr. Perry and teacher Mike Degaitis in Helsinki, Finland. And we were there, as you know, being named one of the most innovative, one of the top 100 most innovative organizations in education in the world. And I got to see amazing programs as part of that. And I will say the leadership in this room between the board and Superintendent Smith and Dr. Perry has done such an amazing job giving us the resources and the vision to be able to do what we do, that we were able to stand proud and inspired by the programs that we got to see there. We really felt well represented and able to represent well what's happening here in Cherry Creek. Specifically to the CCIC, if you look at the slide above, we have a list of our current programs. We offer 14 specific programs within what we call our 7 pathways, and those will continue and maintain and grow as we move forward into the list on the right, the 9 new pathways that we hope to add, or will add, pardon me, as part of our expansion of CCIC 2.0. We'll be doubling in size to about 250,000 square feet as a building, and we'll be moving from about 1,820 students that we currently have to a little over 3,200 students that we'll have as of August of 26 when the building opens. A little look back into how we got here. In fall of 2022, we started the process of looking at how we would expand, and a significant portion of that was done with a large team of educators and students and community members. We initially started with a group of educators and students and took a really deep dive into our data, and Assistant Principal Alex Sabin is here. She's our data guru, and I really relied on her, as we did as a team, to bring us through the data that we saw at local, regional, and national levels. Data are in terms of student interest using the Naviance data from 8th grade and 9th grade, data that included labor trends in industries that we had already at the CCIC, in addition to all the different industries that we were considering as we looked at expanding. And then we brought in industry, and industry voice was critical in our success in terms of selecting those pathways, and in some cases critical in making sure we didn't select a pathway that we felt might not be in the interest of our students and our community. That was very key. And then as you see, June of 23 to the following May, we did a lot of site visits. Got to really be in, we host, as I mentioned often, about 250 site visits a year at the CCIC. Half of those are industries. Partners that are visiting, half are school districts from across the country that are coming to see our facility and see what we're doing out here in Cherry Creek. That's something I think we should be very proud of. We did the reciprocal of that, essentially, to be able to see these pathways that are happening in other communities that we wanted to add and build. Vet Tech being an example, mechatronics, which is a specific slice of aerospace, an aerospace technician role, EMT, pathways that we are now adding. We went to these different places to be able to see what they look like at their very best. And then we started our architectural planning in February and continue to do that to this day. Construction begins with a groundbreaking ceremony on January 8th, and the shovels in the ground for the construction workers on the 13th. We look forward to program approval work with the state, curriculum development over the course of those 9 new pathways that we're adding, the articulation, as we do now, articulation of college credit, articulation of core credits where possible, developing a host of new industry partnerships to support our students, again, from opportunities in the classroom all the way through to internships and apprenticeships, and then all the outreach and marketing that we will do as a part of what we do already to our community of future students. I talk often in front of 8th graders as a part of what we do every year in terms of marketing, so they understand what's happening at CCIC, and I tell them they will be the first group to actually be on the expanded campus, and they're very excited to hear about all their additional opportunities. Some of the challenges we face as we move forward certainly includes a closure of the campus over 2 summers of 25 and 26, relocating our aviation pathway as we move for those summers into a new location so those classes can continue, and then just growing those partnerships. We have so many now, a little over 120 industry partnerships, and growing those in a way that's manageable and sustainable is key. I'll turn it over to Principal Sybil Booker.
Oh, whoops. No, there's the flag. And this is just a picture of the outside of the CCIC as it's been added to. When we post this on the website, it is a fly-through, but it's about a 10-minute fly-through of the building. And so if you would like to get on the website, you can do that, but we won't watch all 10 minutes here this evening.
Good evening. I'd like to echo what Principal Day said about the appreciation for the support of the school board and district leadership team. This has been such an exciting time for the Overland Prairie feeder and community as we have begun to reimagine what our IST building will look like. If you've never been on our campus, it's the building that sits right in between Prairie Middle School and Overland High School. So much like Steve, we did a very similar timeline as we started to think about what type of programming we could bring to the Overland campus that would serve students on the north side of the feeder, as well as some students that would want to come from all over the district. We began with surveys in mid-April that we put out to our Overland families, specifically our students that are already attending CCIC because they know the programming that's already available. And we also shared that with our Prairie Middle School students. We then moved to the 8th grade students at Prairie in addition, because we do know, like Steve said, they will be the first class that will be able to enjoy this brand new facility in the fall of '26. We then had meetings with parents and students from the Overland, Prairie community, as well as the 5th grade students from our feeder elementaries of East Ridge, Polton, Highline, Ponderosa, and Village East, because again, we want to make sure that we are thoughtful about what type of programming we will be able to offer as those 5th grade students move through high school and then join us as Blazers. In May, we took a tour of the CCIC building with Overland and Prairie families, and in June, more meetings, and July, more meetings with parents and students, followed by the review of our data and then deciding on how we were going to land on our pathways. From the spring of '24 through March and current, we have been meeting with industry partners to get their input. We have had research and discussion into which potential pathways would be the best fit for our campus, community meetings, and collaboration with CCIC. And also want to thank Steve and Alex and the CCIC team that have been right alongside us every step to help us with this collaborative endeavor, because they do have such great experience of what's happening out there. We started our architectural planning in May of '24, and we are still in the design phase of the building. The building itself will stay intact. It's just going to be a really nice remodel on the inside. We've had staff, student, and industry partners give us their input, along with regular ongoing planning meetings about twice a week with our contractors that are now selected, and we are moving into the other projects that will be on our campus. So the picture shows a mock drawing of what you might expect to see when you enter the IST building. That would be on the first floor. We're going first and second floor on the one wing of our building. We will have the pre-law and criminal justice programs that will support those programs on a single campus. Right now, they are split between 2 campuses, and we're going to merge those into one place at Overland or at IST. We'll have legal and judicial, forensic science, and law enforcement classes, and we're still working on some additional programming to be explained a little bit later. We will have our health sciences program also. That will be the first and second floor on the east side of IST. We will have offerings that will be patient care tech, surgical tech, and that's what you see in the mock drawing. That will be similar to, and we hope will mirror what it looks like at CCIC and what it will look like if you came into an actual medical facility. Other programs that are Overland specific that our students will still be able to take as part of their CTE programming will be Culinary Pro Start program, which we're very excited about. This is a mock drawing of that. We will have expansion of our existing culinary arts along with adding more space for a cafe and some very small type of catering that we would maybe be able to do in-house. We will have our robotics and computer design program that is currently in the IST building. It will move just across the hall in order to update their space and the equipment that's needed for that. Those are CE and CTE program offerings. And then we will have a visual and creative arts suite, which will be on the second floor, which is currently post-grad. We will turn that into still and video production, podcasting, and then we will be able to offer those foundational classes that students can then continue at CCIC. So in looking at our timeline, it is this summer we will start the internal remodels. We have to do some things inside our building to make sure that we're moving at a good pace to keep the construction going, but we want to make sure we update any classes and rooms inside our building to have everyone from the IST building move in. We will have an OHS track remodel. We will have the summer of 2026. We'll complete the remodels inside our building, and we will open the IST 2.0 and the Aquatic Center, which is the drawing that you see there, in the fall of 2026. We will continue to do teacher hiring, curriculum development, work with our industry partners, and determine all the staffing that we need to do. That will be ongoing throughout next year. One more thing I want to add is that we're really proud of our Overland Auto program. It is one of our largest CTE pathways that we have in our building. It usually always has a wait list every semester. Our students are very interested and excited about what's going to take place as we do some remodels there. One of the major things that we are going to be able to do is move our bays from 4 to 7, and by doing so, that will allow the space to be more adaptable for the newer vehicles that have the navigation systems that we need very special space requirements to be able to work on those vehicles. We are updating some rooms to have 2 full classrooms. We're combining some spaces. We're offering more sight lines so that it's a better opportunity to make sure that we are in compliance and staying very safe. And we will have both of those classrooms under a very secure, unified automotive yard instead of across the hall from each other.
Okay. And with that, we will go to questions. I'm going to call up a friend of mine, just because she's more technically savvy in this area than myself, is our administrator of CTE, Ms. Lawson Miller. She will join us, but with that, I'll pass it to you for questions.
Thank you. Thank you all again for your presentation, and it's always exciting to hear of all the good things that are happening, and I know we heard your presentation just this past week, so congratulations again on the top 100 in the world. Such an exciting award to have. And just to comment, I'm thankful for Dave Henderson, especially and his department, for the forward thinking that he has to already hire contractors and have contractors hired already so that we can begin immediately. We know that other people in our area do not have contractors hired. So we will be the first, I'm sure, breaking ground on CCIC. So I'm excited about that as well. And I guess I look forward to the continuation and the expansion of CCIC, as I was on this board when we the last time around when we got this approved so that we could build this. And so it's exciting to see where we have, over this period of time, how much it has improved. One question I do have is who will have the access to the IST? Will that be mainly Overland High School students, or will that be will it be equitably divided amongst?
That's currently a recommendation we're working on. Obviously, being at the Overland campus, it makes sense that we would give priority to Overland students. And so, yes, I think it will be a higher percentage of Overland students. I can't tell you if that's a 60-40, 70-30 split. We really need to look at what the interest is, but we will make a decision about that, a recommendation, and talk with Chris and principals about what that makes sense. But everybody across the district would have access, assuming there was space available. Oh, I've got to turn my...
Okay, and I know that Overland students don't access CCIC as much as other high schools in our area. Is that correct? Because of distance and travel? Or so do we think we'll be able to still increase our numbers of Overland students using CCIC as well?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I think that ends my comments and questions, and thank you. I will turn mine off.
Thank you, Director Bates. Director Egan?
Thank you. It's good to see this presentation again. I know it's not our first time. I remain concerned about the gender disparity in these programs, and I guess I'm curious when you say that it's because it's technical in nature. unsure about that.
Come on now. There it goes.
You know, I'll attempt the beginning of that answer, and then I'll turn it over to Lawson Miller for a better answer. But I'll start by saying I think there is a demographic shift that we see at the CCIC specifically in terms of our healthcare pathway. Is we have overrepresentation, as does industry, of female students, and we work really hard to do the marketing and the work from 8th graders even earlier in creating opportunities in children's heads in terms of that's a career for them, male or female. We do the exact same, and again, I'm looking at Alex Saban in terms of the work she's done in automotive around scheduling. We had so few students, female students, in our automotive program at CCIC that Alex did a really great job in terms of creative scheduling and creating cohorts of female students within specific courses that allowed them to really create a dynamic in that class that was very different than what they had been experiencing when they were just one or two. And I think that has tremendously, I think we're probably up significantly about fourfold in terms of female students in our automotive program alone just in the last year and a half, 2 years. And so a lot of that is where we see those trades have skewed gender representation in the industry. We see similar trends in terms of enrollment, and then we work hard to undo those, so then we hopefully eventually will change industry, the face of industry over time. Lawson?
Even when I look out into the audience at our future educators, which is a traditionally female represented pathway, I see lots of males out there and male identifying students. So when I say we are working on this, we are absolutely working on this. When we talk about CTE programming in the district, we have performance metrics that are set by the feds and that are also set by the state. So when we look at the trajectory of non-traditional enrollment in our programs, we have been increasingly increasing our non-trad enrollment over the last 4 years. So much so we got dinged by the state for having overrepresentation of females in our male pathways, our traditional male pathways, because we were outperforming everybody in the Denver metropolitan area. So this is something we're working on specifically with programming from the Central CTE office with programs like our Women in Industry event that we hold every year. And then we're very strategic with our marketing towards students who are identifying in their MyCap that they are interested in a field that might be a non-traditional field. So we start reaching out to those students as early as middle school to try to bring them in and raise awareness of programs that traditionally haven't been accessible to them.
Well, thank you. I would say it even starts before that when we look at our STEAM programs as early as our pre-K and our kindies. And I know well the program that you're referring to. We are a sponsor. My family's a sponsor of that event at CCIC and have been happy to be involved since before even groundbreaking, so I appreciate it. I am excited about the future, but we do need to lean in on those issues as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Egan. Director Knowles?
Thank you so much for coming out and presenting again to us. For the 3,200 students, that's very exciting. Are you planning to keep it 10th grade and older?
Thank you. Yes, we are.
Okay. And then I had recently had a meeting with some students who they all come into high school, specifically Overland, within high school, like they hadn't been there since middle or elementary. And they were talking about not really knowing much about CCIC. And I was like, I know we try. And 8th grade is that year, you know, that kids get the tour or whatever it might be. I would just encourage to maybe do some more formal tours for some of the areas that might not be as represented. And maybe it's on a testing day that afternoon. There could be a bus that goes out or something that makes it accessible for kids to come out to CCIC, because a lot of them had not even been there, let alone there.
That is a fantastic suggestion. Thank you. And I would also add All the high school principals are wonderful to work with. Sybil has been fantastic, and really our enrollment specifically from Overland has grown probably about 40% just in the last 2 years based on some of the work we've been able to do together, which has been great.
Great. And then wanted to just ask a clarification about pathways, because I think that there's a thought that pathways maybe equals certifications or concurrent enrollment. And I don't know if they always do. You know, when we're looking at things like the film program, for instance, or legal or judicial, that maybe it's something that a lot of kids want to do, but it can't be at all the schools, so it's centralized to make it accessible to everybody. And just wondered if that could be clarified. If pathways don't, most of the time there's CTE or concurrent enrollment, but not always, and just want to make sure I'm understanding that correctly.
I'll start and then you can answer. That is correct. Not all pathways do lead to a certification. But one thing that we are very passionate about is, as we're talking about helping every student find their pathway of purpose, we want to offer as many things as we can, and then some things that we see are not an interest to students, we can adjust and adapt. But if we can provide that opportunity for students to maybe get into a program that they knew nothing about, maybe had an interest in, it may spark that interest for them to go on and pursue that post-high school. So our goal is to introduce them to the pathway, and then if they are able to continue out to CCIC for certificate or for certification, that's great. If not, we just want to support them in the next phase of what that looks like for them.
That was good.
Okay.
Thank you. That concludes my questions.
Thank you, Director Knowles. I did have a question for Mrs. Booker. When you talked about having a wait list at Overland for your, is it the automotive program? What is that? How many students on there? And then what is that process to get them off the wait list or find them a place?
Currently have about 50 students that are waiting for second semester. So what we'll do is, as some students sign up for automotive and get in there and decide that they don't love it after a couple of weeks. So as students come off and we offer more space, the thing about automotive and a lot of the CTE programming is space and safety. We have to be really careful and thoughtful about how many students we have in a space for the work that's being done. So we have a pretty tight cap on how many students can be in those courses. By offering bigger spaces as we do this remodel, we will be able to provide more opportunities for students and bring more off the wait list.
Thank you. And then how will our building the swimming pool help your community?
So excited about the swimming pool. This pool is going to be, I am just thrilled that our community is going to finally be able to have our own swimming pool. The City of Aurora has been a very nice partner with us, and we are going to be able to now have access to more classes that we are not able to currently offer. Right now we have one section of swimming per day, and that even is limited because of how many lanes we can use at Utah Pool based on the classes that they are currently offering. So this is going to expand courses or sections of swimming classes and allow us to be able to offer more classes around swimming safety, lifeguarding, training, and things like that. We will be able to host our own swim meets, and our swim and dive teams, which are amazing, won't have to share with the city. We'll be able to use our own facility, and I hope that we're able to host things in the community, maybe community swim teams and things like that. So we're very excited about it.
Thank you. And Mr. Day, I am a witness about the 8th graders touring. My 8th graders toured last week, and my daughter instructed me she's going to do the hospitality track, and my son said he's going to be a welder, so I'm a little nervous because he's the one that takes apart our house. So, so please.
We'll take good care of them both.
Okay, I appreciate that. But thank you for all you do, and again, congratulations on that award. That's a big deal to be in the top 100 of the world. Like, that's not the nation or the state, but the world. That's humongous. So congratulations to you and your team for that.
President Garland, may I just ask one question of Principal Day? Can you explain, because obviously this is what's happening during the school day. Can you share how we're supporting the community in the evening as well?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Superintendent Smith. So with support of the district, we have expanded our evening programs from initially offering just a small program for adults with special needs in manufacturing as part of the Uniquely Abled Academy, and I'm proud to say we were the first in the state of Colorado to offer that program. Wildly successful. We grew by offering that program a second time. We're ready now to offer it a third time, so we're very excited about that. But in addition to that, we've also been able to add CNA, Certified Nursing Assistant classes in the evening. And again, these are courses for, once in a while it'll be a student who can't, a CCSD student who can't access us during the day because of schedule conflicts at their home high school. So it's really wonderful for those students to be able to get to us in the evening. But it's also adults in our community who are looking to upskill or reskill. They pick up that certification as part of our program. We offer that program at reduced cost to the community because we already have the facility and that's already paid for, so we can offer that at about half the cost for CNA certification specifically. So a wonderful boon to folks, adults in the community looking to pick up that certification. And we've also started adding an aviation program in the evening and a woodworking program in the evening. And I imagine we know, just based on our data and our experience, things like welding, things like HVAC, the opportunities for those programs, both for students who are interested, but additionally and especially for adults who want to, again, upskill or reskill or enhance their certifications. There'll be a tremendous opportunity for that. The building hums at night now. It will continue to do so even more as we expand.
Thank you. That concludes our presentation. It is at this point in our meeting that we make time for members of the audience who have completed the online comment form prior to 12 noon today to address the Board of Education. Oh, is everyone okay? Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know if that was, I hope, okay. I'm glad it wasn't a person. No, you're good. It's okay. It's okay. In order for everyone to be heard, please limit your comments to a maximum of 2 minutes. A buzzer will sound at the end of the 2 minutes, and the microphone and audio will be automatically muted. Each speaker may only speak during public comment. Speaking time may not be shared between speakers. This is your opportunity to make comments to the Board of Education in accordance with board policy. It is not a question and answer session. Please confine your comments to matters that are germane to the business of the district. Further, please recognize that students attend most of our meetings. Any speakers whose statements or behavior are unrelated to the business of the district, appear threatening or unsafe, or are inappropriate for K-12 students may be interrupted or warned and their opportunity for comment terminated. Audience members who speak are asked to do so in a respectful manner, and the audience is encouraged to listen respectfully. Any speaker or audience member who disrupts the good order of the board meeting, including the speaking time of others, may be asked to leave. We are very interested in your feedback and will listen carefully. On behalf of the board, I want to thank you in advance for your comments and for taking the time to attend tonight's meeting. Mr. Dale, could you please call our first speakers?
Yes, thank you. We have 3 for tonight, so please come up in the order in which I call you. Gerald Ashwood, Brent Harris, and Herded Ashwood, or Herdis, excuse me.
Do all of us come up at one time, or?
Yes, you can all line up. Yeah.
When should I begin? Yep. Thank you for your time. My name is Gerald Ashwood. CCSD policies enabled the crime of assault and battery to be committed against our son. The child that committed this crime has been found guilty and has been sentenced. The abuse our son faced progressively increased over 2 years from verbal to physical, culminating in the attack. A no-contact order had been in place, but the policies of CCSD kept the aggressor in the classroom while telling us our son could leave the classroom. One of the effects of bullying is for the victim to feel alienated. We are not going to further alienate our son by removing him from his friends and his teachers that he trusts. We made our decision with incomplete information due to the policies of CCSD. We did not know until after the fact and talking to other parents that there were multiple no-contact orders. Plus, at least one other child's parent had filed a police report but did not press charges. Contact orders and police reports does it take for a known threat to be removed from the classroom. CCSD website on bullying prevention says, kids who bully use their power to control or harm others. The policies of CCSD serve to enhance the power of the bullies while failing to protect the other children. The children committing the acts of violence are not done any favors when they see very little consequences for their actions. I'm not a teacher, but I am a flight instructor, and I've taught multiple people to fly aircraft. When teaching a student anything, whether it's flying, math, or reading, when a student has a strong emotion like fear, they will be unable to learn new information. When a student of mine would start to be afraid, I would take control of the aircraft so that they could relax and let go of any negative emotions and until they were ready to continue learning. CCSD needs to take control, and the principals and teachers need to be empowered to take control and remove any known threats from the classroom to provide a safe learning environment absent of fear. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Brent Harris, and I continue on my pathway of purpose due to the excellent educational experiences through my life dedicated to Cherry Creek Schools. 110,000 students have graduated from all the Cherry Creek schools since it was founded in 1955, me being one, proudly receiving my diploma at the Stutler Bowl in May 2001. Early at Heritage Elementary and West Middle School, my peers empowered me with confidence by treating me as an equal due to the culture built by my teachers. My experience in the late 20s reminds me that we are soon entering the second quarter of the 21st century, and now there are more than 55,000 students discovering their pathway empowered by incredible educators in our district. After graduating from the University of Georgia and completing a summer internship in Washington, D.C., I came home to a career choice to make. I could work at a city council office in Denver or start a political career, or I could take a job at an educational nonprofit called Brainwise, which would eventually lead me to Regis University, my master's in teaching license. An impact on every citizen, not just the students, educators, or parents, are the taxes which support the foundation of our national house, our public schools. In my opinion, $3 per month for $100,000 of home value is not an inappropriate increase of money to support our children in this economy, but personally it calculates to near $400 increase in my property taxes each year. It is a fact that I could not afford to purchase my home now, even on a level 15 of the CCSD schedule, due to inflation and everything. I'm simultaneously reassured and troubled that my neighbors again demonstrated their support with their yes votes on 4A and 4B. Both in the informational events I was able to attend were sparsely attended, save for the administration, who were obligated to be there from their feeder area. The community trusts the board and district with consistent resources, and while I believe the positive intentions of the bond and mill, and I voted yes, I'm concerned for the long-term voter support to continue if future asks are not more proactive in responding to the changing nature of population demographics. This one mill bond was designed.
My name is Herdis Astwood, and thank you for your time. My son was assaulted on April 29th at Sagebrush Elementary School by a bully, leaving him with a bloody nose and bruises to his head after he was pinned on the ground in the hallway and repeatedly beaten. This was a result of current Cherry Creek School District policies which failed my son. A no-contact order had been in place between my son and the bully since April 5th. This last assault occurred with a no-contact order in place after my son had been progressively bullied over 2 years, during which time other kids have also been bullied. School policies did not allow for the bully to be removed from the classroom. The no-contact order meant that the bully remained in my son's classroom, while the teachers were tasked to keep the children separated inside the same classroom. Current policies protect the bullies over the victims in the hopes that the bully will change. CCSD policy's option to keep my son safe was to remove my son from his classroom, which re-victimizes the victim, taking him away from his friends and teachers he loved. We were forced to keep our son home from school until the school finally removed the bully from the classroom. We were forced to press charges. The bully was found guilty of assault and battery in court and sentenced. It took three 11-year-old kids to be witnesses to speak up in court and testify against their bully. This was very brave and would not have been necessary if the school district policies regarding the no-contact orders were different. Current policies prison guards over being educators to ensure children are safe. Our teachers know the difference between a child making bad choices and a child having a violent manner. Current policies need to protect all of our children, but especially the victims. We did not realize until the guilty verdict how much this bullying affected our child and what a weight was lifted off his shoulders. How do you think a child feels when they are continued to be sent into an arena with a lion and all the adults know there's a lion in the arena who's just waiting to attack again? Your policy should be there to protect our children. They felt mine, and not only mine, and Cherry Creek School District needs to do better.
That concludes the speakers for tonight.
Thank you. May I have a motion? Consent agenda, resolutions 24.12.1 through 24.12.14.
Move to approve the consent agenda, resolutions number 24.12.1 through 24.12.14.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Director Spates?
Aye.
Egan?
Aye.
Garland?
Aye.
Knowles?
Aye.
Motion carries. Our next meeting is Monday, January 13th, 2025, 7 p.m. at Prairie Middle School, located at 12600 East Jewel Avenue. I'm sorry, I'll reread that. 12600 East Jewel Avenue, Aurora, Colorado, 80012. I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn the December 9th, 2024 meeting.
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Director Spates?
Aye.
Egan?
Aye.
Garland?
Aye.
Knowles?
Aye.
Motion carries. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you.